Okay, so let's jump right into it. I guess first thing to mention is really this is going to be quite fast paced. It's a bit of an actionable sort of overview made to be as useful as possible to you. I want you to get some sort of things you can take away and go and implement straight after this, whether you're running ads already or looking to start. Give you a good idea of what pay-per-click is, what it can do for your pest control business, and really how to set it up so you're maximizing profit. That's really what it's all about. Really, there's a unique opportunity for you. Potential customers are searching for your services daily. Searchers have a high buyer intent. They usually have a problem they need to solve. Obviously, you're their solution to that problem. And just being in front of them and being visible can often get you to the customer. So really the key is making sure you're showing up. Now, you probably would have heard the sales pitch about SEO and pay-per-click before. And really, it just comes down to being there when someone searches for services that you provide in your local service area. Now, especially in the pest control industry, there is a lot of competition, but a properly set up PPC campaign can put you on top and profitably, where you're not paying a lot to acquire a new customer. The other great thing about pest control is there are hundreds of targetable long tail keywords. I'll explain this a bit later on, but basically longer keywords that you can target and show ads for, which can lower your cost per click and get you more customers for cheaper. So I'll show you a bit of that soon. So in terms of an overview, just going to go through quickly what pay-per-click is, how does it work, why should you use it, why most pay-per-click campaigns fail, then how to set up and structure your campaigns to really minimize the amount of money you're spending to get a new customer and maximize obviously your return on investment for your ad spend. And we'll go also through sort of step by step how we set up the campaign, what to avoid, what to include. And really, this could be 100 hours of content, but I've sort of condensed it down into sort of must know areas. We'll also go through tracking and why it's so important and how to set up your website to make sure you're making the most of the clicks that you're paying for. So you're probably wondering, who am I? Why should you be listening to me? I've got, despite my age, 10 plus years of experience in digital marketing, grown businesses from nothing to multi-million dollars in sales solely through Google, both through SEO and pay-per-click. I'm Google certified in AdWords, search and analytics. I'm a speaker at various events and a youth chair at the Mental Health Foundation of Australia. So jumping into it, what is pay-per-click? And obviously I'll show you a quick example. I'm sure you know this already, but here's an example if it's showing up. Search term, Pest Control Melbourne. And these 4 spots here, they're tagged with a little ad. They are your Google ads. Now, as you can see, they show up right at the top, which is sort of prime real estate. And showing ads here obviously puts you in front of your customers' eyes first, but also generally gets you the most clicks from this search engine results page. Generally, you have the ads first, usually 2, 3, or 4, then a map pack, and then your organic listings. And this is what you're vying for when you're doing SEO. So with pay-per-click, you're really paying every time someone clicks on your ad. Obviously with SEO, you're sort of putting effort and investment into ranking in those organic listings. And once you're there, you're not paying per click. Obviously with Google Ads, it is different. You are paying every single time someone clicks your ad. Just as a side note, one of the common questions I get is, hey, do my competitors click on my ads? Yes, they do. Generally, one of the good things about using an agency for your ads is they use software, or we use software that minimizes that. It basically tracks who's clicking on ads and blocks certain clickers from clicking on your ads. Google actually does some fraud protection as well. So it's not something to worry about too much. Now, another great thing about pay-per-click is you can bid and show for any keyword you want, right? So I'll go into a bit more detail about this soon, but basically you can show up anywhere you want for any keyword that people are searching for. And that's really powerful if you know what you're doing. So why should you use it? Obviously, there's a number of benefits. You can show up and start getting clients straight away. Like tomorrow you can start getting calls for your services. There's virtually unlimited scalability. You can scale up to thousands of dollars in ad spend a week, a month, a day. It's really up to you, depending on how big you want to scale. And that obviously comes down to having a profitable campaign. You know, if you can spend $1 in ads and get $3 back in customers, you know, you spend as much as possible, right? So really, it's a matter of starting small and building up from there to really reach whatever business goals you have. Again, you can show up for keywords that might be difficult to rank for in SEO terms. You can spend years working on your SEO, which is something we do for clients as well. But with pay-per-click, you can show up immediately, and you don't have to wait so long to rank. And really, the great thing about pay-per-click, and something it's really good to do when you're first starting your business, is to learn what people are searching for and what people want. By showing your ads, you can learn what people click on, what type of ads, and what doesn't work, and what basically you're wasting money on. And then you can work out what's most profitable and then do more of that. So ads are expensive, right? They can be, but the whole point is for them to be profitable. And this is what this is all about. It's a matter of setting up your ad campaign to make sure that whatever your money you're putting in, you're getting out 3, 4, 5 times, 10 times more out of it. And here's how you do that. So really, the point of it is to achieve the lowest cost per conversion. So, you know, you might be paying X amount per click, $1, $2, $3 per click, but we need to convert those clicks into clients, or at least customers that are contacting you via phone or a contact form request. And the amount of money paid to get a lead is your cost per conversion. And we need to lower that as low as possible, obviously. So I'll show you how we do that. Again, this could be 10 hours of content, but this is really the must-haves and the things you need to 100% get right to make sure you're not wasting money with your ads. So before we jump into what you need to be doing, there's a whole bunch of things you shouldn't be doing, right? And these are probably more important than the other ones. You can set up a half-decent campaign just by avoiding the common mistakes. First thing to understand is read up about the auction process. How do they determine the cost per click? And why does paying more per click matter? Or why wouldn't you just pay less? And how that sort of affects where you show up. Now, the biggest mistake I see is only setting up one ad group for all your services, right? So you might have rodent services, termites, free inspections for whatever it may be, and you're only showing one set of ads. That's the biggest mistake anyone makes. You need to have specific ads for each key service, and I'll explain that in a second. This really ties into using specific and not using specific ad text for each service, and sending all your clicks to your homepage, right? All your clicks should be going to a page specific for the service that the person searched for. I'll go through this again and sort of explain it a bit simpler for you. And obviously in marketing, you need to ask for their business. You need to ask them to contact you. So you need to have a strong call to action or offer, both on your ad, getting them to click, and on your landing page / website, getting them to call you. And then very common mistake is not using landing pages at all. Obviously just sending your clicks to your homepage, where they'll often get lost. Click the back button, you've paid for the click, and you get no benefit out of it. So step 1, in terms of setting up your campaign for profitability, use Google's advanced editor. When you first set up your Google Ads account, it's going to come up with a nice tutorial wizard for you that basically walks you through setting up your ad, which is really great when you're starting out. But Google, their business is making money from you. They want you to spend money on ads. Ultimately, they want you to spend more money, meaning you need to have profitable ads. But as far as they're concerned, as long as they set you up with some sort of ad campaign, you're going to be paying them. Your role is to increase profitability, reduce cost, and then scale that, right? So number one thing, use Google Advanced Editor, because Google's basic editor will basically coerce you to spend more money on your ads. They're going to broaden your targeting, increase your cost per click, and set up your campaign in a way that goes against what I'm going to show you in a moment. So that's step 1. Now, in terms of your structure, there's a bunch of non-negotiables. Number one is conversion tracking. I will mention this again shortly, but you need to be tracking automatically and sending that to Google when someone contacts you via phone or via your contact form request. So Google needs to know when someone's clicked an ad and then converted to a potential client. If there's no tracking involved, Google can't automatically optimize your ads to make sure that you're increasing the amount of calls you're getting for less ad spend. So while you might know how many calls you're getting, you need to be tracking it within your website and sending that data to Google through a pixel to make sure that the ads are basically not wasting money. Now, and I'll go through this in more detail, each service that you have, so think of your business and the services you provide, each service needs to have its own set of keywords that you're targeting and separate ad groups for each keyword. Again, I'll show you a really good diagram so you can sort of understand how this works. But you're trying to be as custom as possible, right? So if someone's looking for a termite inspection, okay, the ad that they see needs to mention termites and inspections and perhaps a call to action like call us today for a free inspection, right? It needs to be very specific as compared to Bob's Pest Control. And that's the ad everyone sees no matter what they've searched for. You're going to be spending money on clicks that are not going to convert. Now, there's a bunch of things here. Don't worry too much about the technical aspect of it. I guess maybe take notes. I can send you these slides later on. I am going to go fairly fast, but really, I'm going to go through step by step in terms of what keywords to target and how they work, what negative keywords are, how to prepare your ad text, what conversion tracking you need to be doing, and where should your ad clicks be going. So to break it down, step one, as I mentioned, is use the advanced editor. Step two is to make sure you're tracking conversions. Google needs to know when someone's converted to a phone call or a contact form request. And don't spend another cent on pay-per-click until you have conversion tracking set up. Pay-per-click is about tracking what's working and optimizing your ads based on that. And the number one piece of information that everyone needs to know is what has converted into something that's going to turn into money. Basically a customer contacting you for your services. So in terms of tracking, there's really three main things you need to be tracking. Absolutely required is to make sure you're tracking contact form submissions. So when someone fills out your contact form and you get an email, that needs to be tracked and registered as a conversion. And also when someone clicks the button to call, like your phone number on your website, when someone clicks that needs to be registered as a conversion as well. And to top it off, which is what we implement for clients, and it's really recommended, call tracking. So you can know and Google can know when someone's actually picked up the phone and physically called you. And that needs to be registered as a conversion as well. Now, there's some really cool stuff you can do with call tracking, but at the very least, have a look into it. It's really quite powerful how you can work out which customer came from which ad. So in terms of finding out whether your ads are working, again, the default way people do it is, we spent $500 on ads, we spent $1,000 on ads this month. Did we get some more customers? And then they're usually like, yeah, I got 5 phone calls. That was quite good. Let's do it again. Again, when you're tracking conversions, you'll know whether it's working or not. But there are a few other things you need to be keeping aware, an eye on. And these are the 4 ones on the screen right here. How much you've spent for the month, how much you've paid per click, how much you've paid per conversion. So that's a phone call or a contact form request. And what's your return on investment? So really it's what percentage of your money have you gotten back? Now, at the very minimum, you should be getting 100%. So at least you're not wasting your time. But a good campaign should be 3, 4, 5x on your money. Once it's optimized after a few months of data, you should be looking at 10x return. So for every $1 of ad spend you're getting $10 back in customer revenue. Now, I'd recommend setting up a dashboard to make sure you can have a look at this easily. The AdWords dashboard is fine, but there are better ones available, and you can let me know if you want help setting that up. It's basically a good way to see all these metrics in one glance to make sure you're on track or whether you're just wasting money. So in terms of structure, I did mention a diagram just before. That'll be on the next screen. Your campaign shouldn't be this one thing where it's basically, these are all our services and this is our ad, right? It's not a magazine or a newspaper ad or a billboard where you're just showing the one ad to everyone. With Google Ads, you can very specifically show an ad for what the person searched for. And that's really the power of Google Ads. So your campaign needs to be broken into small components targeting your various services, right? A termite inspection search request needs to show a termite ad. It sounds very simple, but if you are using the Google Basic Editor, it's really difficult to set that up. So you just jump into the advanced editor. It's not too complicated, and you can look into ad groups and set that up per keyword. And that really jumps into the next part of this paragraph, which is SKAGs, single keyword ad groups. So we actually go so far as to break down your ad groups. So what ads you're showing per keyword, right? So the ad text that someone sees is like specific to what they've searched for, right? So if they've searched for a termite inspection in Melbourne CBD, our ad text will actually mention a termite inspection in the CBD plus a call to action, right? That's specific. It won't just be Joe's pest control call today. It'll be specific to what they've searched for. And that categorically gets more clicks and more customers than a generic ad, right? And there's no more spend involved. There's not much more effort involved. It's just a matter of setting it up correctly. And here's an example of what I'm talking about. You've got your traditional account structure on the left, and then the single keyword ad group that I just mentioned on the right. So generally you've got your campaign, an ad group, and then a bunch of keywords. Now, just to explain this is your Google Ads account. This is sort of a broken down version of your campaign in your ad group. And then your keywords would be, for example, termite problems, company needed, termite inspection, rodent problems, pest control company, Melbourne, right? So these are different keywords. And generally what people do is they lump them all into one ad group, and they're showing essentially the same set of ads no matter what the person searched for. Now it sounds quite simple, and really it is a simple problem to fix, but it can cause a lot of problems where you are wasting money and simply paying for clicks or not getting clicks at all. It's sort of one or the other. So paying for clicks that aren't converting to customers because it's just simply too generic, or you're getting the impression, so someone's seeing your ad but they're not clicking and they're going to a competitor. So the recommended setup for the most part is this, where you have your campaign, you have a separate ad group per keyword, right? So this might be termites, rodents, and wasps, and you have separate ads for each keyword group, right? So you want to be showing wasp ads to people that searched about wasps, termites for termites, rodents for rodents, right? Fairly simple and fairly simple to set up, but very powerful in increasing the revenue per your ad spend, but also your click-through rate. So another thing that Google tends to gloss over, obviously to keep it simple, but we're here to sort of maximize the amount of money we're making from our ads and making sure we can run them for a long period of time and actually make money from it, right? Google tends to gloss over the different keyword types. The basic editor really sort of doesn't explain this very well, but there's 3 keyword types you need to be aware of. And this is how Google knows whether to show your ad or not, depending on what the person searched for. So the 3 types are broad match, phrase match, and exact match. Okay. Broad match, basically whenever someone types searches for pest or control or pests, plural control, or a misspelling of any of this, your ad will show, no matter what that might be. So someone might type in pest control course, right? They're looking for a course, but your ad will show up and they might click on it and you'll be wasting money. Okay. This is a good way to find out new keywords that you wouldn't have thought of yourself, but it can be a massive money sink if you just leave it on. So the next type is phrase match. So basically in the quotation marks here, you've got pest control in Melbourne. It's going to show your ad whenever this phrase is in the search query. This is what they've typed into Google. Whenever this phrase is in their search query, you're going to show up, right? They can add words before this or after this, but this phrase has to be exactly in their search query for you to show up. Again, termite problems, right? You might show up, but they might be searching from Texas. Again, you're going to target by location, but if they write termite problems Texas, you're going to be showing up. Exact match. This is where it gets very specific, and this is generally the place you want to be working with once you've worked out the best keywords for your business. Your ad will only show up when they only searched for termite services, nothing else. Now, this isn't a good example, but you want to be hyper specific where it would be a termite inspection and then a specific suburb, right? Now, depending on how you're doing your location tracking, you can tell Google, what locations you want to target separately or within your keywords. We generally test both and see what works best. But for your purposes, exact match is a really good place to start to make sure you're only showing up for very specific keywords, especially when you've got a smaller budget. You don't want to be showing up for random keywords. And it's quite funny, if you turn on broad and put in something like pest control, you'll get all sorts of results where people will search for all sorts of wacky things, including DIY solutions or all sorts of things, and you'll be showing up. And people will be clicking on you, but they weren't really looking for a pest control company. So another great way to make sure you're not wasting money on clicks that don't convert to customers is using negative keywords. And negative keywords essentially mean that your ad will not show up if one of these keywords is in the search query that the person's typed in, right? So you get to choose. You get to put as many of these negative keywords as you want. And we have a sort of quite an in-depth list that we implement for our clients to make sure that you're not wasting clicks on sort of people that don't need your services or aren't even looking for you. A good example is jobs, courses, careers, cheap, free, association, DIY. It's obviously words that you generally associate with clients that you don't want, right? So you don't want the El Cheapo clients, but also we want to avoid clickers that aren't even looking for a pest control company and don't even need one, right? Someone looking for a pest control course or a job or free pest control, whatever that may be. This stops your ads showing up when someone's used that word. And it's very powerful and seriously important to make sure you have at least a basic list of negative keywords. So moving quickly to your ad text. So what actually shows up when someone sees your ad? It needs to resonate specifically with what they've searched for. Hopefully I've drummed that in already. And while also being relevant to what they've searched for, it also needs to entice them to click on your ad. There's two parts to this. It really needs to tell them what to do. Should they call you? Should they click on your ad? Should they send you an email, right? Generally, call is a good call to action for location-based services like pest control. And you also want to stand out, right? So something like book your free inspection or call today, free termite inspection, fast, efficient, tends to get attention. And here are some examples. Fast, efficient pest control, Melbourne, book your free inspection. Now this again will be shown for keywords where they've typed in pest control company Melbourne, right? You wouldn't really want to show this when someone's typed in termite inspection. You'd want to be showing this one. And that comes down again to how you set up your ad groups and what I just mentioned before. So you've got your keywords set up, you've got your negative keywords set up, you've got your ad set up, right? And now someone's clicked, right? You've got the click. That's really good. Now you have paid for it. We want to turn that into a customer, someone that's going to call you and book you in, right? So we need to work out where those clicks are going. Okay. This comes down to landing pages. And as I mentioned before, you don't want to be sending your clicks to your homepage. It's a massive waste of money most of the time, right? It can work and we can test it, but generally you want to be sending them to a page that's specific for what they searched for, right? Termite inspection, you send them to your termite service page. So usually your website will have a silo structure. I went through this in another webinar on SEO, but basically you should have a separate page for every service you provide. And each ad group should link to this service page that's relevant for the search term. So they've clicked the termite inspection ad, they've reached your termite service page. Next, you need to have a really strong call to action and make it easy for the visitor to convert and contact your company, right? So you need to have a contact form on the screen as soon as they open up your website. and also your phone number as a clickable button, generally in the top right, and then once again, sort of in the main content of your page. That's at a minimum, right? Contact form above the fold on your website is critical, and then your phone number that's clickable, so they can tap it on their phone or click it on their desktop, and it'll open up their phone app to call you. So that's sort of the setup of how you should prepare your campaign. I know it's been a lot of information quite fast. Hopefully I haven't sort of gone too fast where you haven't been able to sort of get a basic understanding of what I've been trying to convey. Now, all this sort of thing you can go out and do yourself, which I'd recommend go out and try it, right? Put a small budget in and see what happens. But if you are looking for a pay-per-click agency to sort of handle it for you, here's some questions you should ask them, whether it's us or anyone else, to make sure you're sort of getting the right person that's going to sort of care about your ad spend, right? Number one, and this comes down to what I've talked about, what type of tracking will they be putting in place, right? What I recommend is don't go saying, hey, do you track conversions and do you give me a dashboard? Sorry, yeah, do you track calls? Do you track contact form requests? Sort of you're handing them the answer. Just say, what type of tracking will I have? And look out for making sure that they're tracking your contact form requests, your click to call buttons, but also do they have an option to give you call tracking, which I'd highly recommend. Secondly, will you have a live dashboard? Right, you need to have a place where you can just jump in, whether it be 1 a.m. in the morning, and have a look at how your ads have gone for yesterday, the week, the month prior, whatever that may be. And that needs to show at least the 4 key metrics I mentioned earlier, which is, your ad spend, your average cost per click, your average cost per customer or conversion, and then your return on investment, generally as a percentage of how much money you've put into the ads. Then ask about where the ads are going to be going, right? They're going to set up this campaign for you, but are they just going to send it to the homepage or are they going to send it elsewhere, right? So make sure that they're setting up specific landing pages for each key service, right? So just sort of sit down with you and make sure that you have a page for each service and that the ads are going to those pages. Now, something I didn't talk about, which is sort of more high level, which agencies should do for you, is split test your ads. So basically showing different versions with one variable changed to see which one converts better. Do they do that for you? And generally, if you're paying an agency to do pay-per-click ads for you and manage them for you, they should be split testing your ads. And that's something that really should be seen on the dashboard as well. And then finally, ask them what the campaign structure is going to be. Maybe if they can just map it out or draw it out for you. What is your campaign going to look like, to make sure they're using as close as possible to the single keyword ad group campaign structure that I showed you earlier, where every ad is specific for each keyword. So that was half an hour of content. Hopefully I didn't gloss over it or go too fast. If you do have any questions at all, just send me an email. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. If you do want someone to implement this for you, this is what I do, as you can see. If you want someone with knowledge and sort of that's going to put effort in to help you, you can go to growthtitans.com.au/book and you can get on a call with me. No obligation. I'll sort of map out a plan for what I think you should be doing, at least for your budget. And then you can either go ahead and do that yourself, or we can implement it for you. And obviously make as much money for you as possible from the ad spend that you're putting in. That's really the goal of it. So again, if you do need any help, just send me an email. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. It has been quite fast. And if you'd like me to send the slides over to you so you can have a bit of a read or look at the diagrams again, just let me know. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. It has been quite intensive, but hopefully you found it useful. And I'm here to help. Thank you very much and have a good night.